What's up, guys? Mega Bleeder here with another episode of Star Technology. Between the episodes, I was doing some work. I actually did a stream for about 2 hours, working through some stuff, getting some stuff set up and organized for this episode. As you can see here, our ingots were running for a little while I was doing the work. I also played a little bit after that, just some more prep work. But let me go ahead and get you caught up on what I did. Alright, I guess for starters, we can talk about our continued sightline. So when I built this, I talked about how I thought it was important to have a nice sightline for it. Let's just throw that in there. We don't need it there. I like the sight line of this, right? It looks really cool. We're walking through here. We walk downstairs. And then we have these nice lights. But I did rebuild some of the biodiesel. We'll be back over here in a second. I rebuilt our biodiesel plant. And as you can see, it's quite a bit different. It is quite a bit different. We've got more diesel engines. We're producing a bunch of stress units. So we're super low capacity here, and we could scale this up if we wanted. There is some room. I could just kind of build out this way, adding some more of the huge diesel engines. They are running full blast. Our biodiesel has no problems keeping up. You can see here our mixer has plenty of time between cycles, right? Over here, we've got our bone meal that's automated. We've got our sugar that's automated. We've got a full drawer of sugar cane. This thing runs very rarely. The sugar runs even more rarely. I went overkill on the plant oil just to have it be uniform with the ethanol. And those are both backed up here. Full tank of ethanol, full tank of plant oil, full tank of biodiesel. So we're doing super well there. Also, I believe it was during the stream. I think it was during the stream. We set up power using the carbon brushes. My first time opening the quest book since I logged back on. So we've got some stuff done here in the Industrial Revolution. I was working through, we got carbon brushes, we got the magnetite block, the redstone magnet. I didn't move on to the layered magnet yet, although this is something that we could do. But I thought it was pretty neat coming over here. I had it squished over behind there. I'll show you that. But I just thought it was neat to kind of put it up here where we're producing power. So when we're producing stress units, if you come over here, it looks like it's being supported on the scaffolding. We're getting the power up there. Each one of these running at this speed is taking 6,100 stress units, which, like I said, is something that we can upgrade. The diesel engines are doing a great job. I could also add in the smaller diesel engines, but if we look at biodiesel from Create, here the stress units created, this one is the best. The huge engine is the best. It does take up a little bit more room, but the diesel engine actually would accept the turbocharger, so I was trying to play around with these. And these would actually go on the diesel engine, so I'm not certain. I did not test that. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me test that. Also, if you have not, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and like the video. Coming down here, we did get into power. So we've got machines set up. I've got a bunch of jungle trees set up here with arboreal extractors that should be pulling latex, but are not. Oh, they're not because this is out of sulfur, which we have a bunch of sulfur. If I swap that out like so, that's going to run for a little bit, making us rubber sheets. I can say without a doubt that these arboreal extractors cannot keep up with the processing speed of the basic fluid solidifier. So although we do have extra rubber right now that every once in a while I have to take out of here, we are not producing enough latex, but I might just add on like another row back here. So do another row here and another row here of jungle logs. I will definitely have to explore that at a later date. But if we take a look, we've got an alloy smelter. We've got this machine, the fluid solidifier, the chemical reactor, this solidifier, making us the rubber sheets. We've also got a bender that's got some plates in it. We've got a wire mill that is set to circuit 16. This makes the big copper wires. It just makes sense to make these and then craft them down into the smaller ones. We do have a basic assembler. I made a handful of hoppers. And then we have a basic macerator. And I was using this to make up, I was just messing around with some quartz sand. I dropped that in there. We'll use that to make glass dust. The floor here is set up so that we can drop create machines wherever we want. And then we can just run shafts up and be able to automate wherever we want without having to worry about sending, getting all dire wiry with different pipes. Now, it does look kind of funky down here, but to my knowledge, this is probably one of the best ways to set up just mass access to create machines. This is my first time doing this like this. I don't know if I should probably, it might make sense to use the copycat panels or something like that to cover these up so that they're not actually having to render the block spinning really fast. So our create power routing is less dire wiry, but I did replace that with a bunch of dire wire from Tom's Simple Storage with these inventory cables. We can see here, I do have it connected to our chest there and routed over. These are all connected to our inventories here, so we can see our gems, we can see our redstone, our wrought iron, our glass. I did set up soul sand automation here. So with the basic inventory hopper through Tom's Simple Storage, you can export. And this is set to export sand. You could just click the block on there. So if we took sand, if we click it on there, it's set to filter sand. So it's now exporting from the system. And I'm pretty certain you can set it to import. If I flip this around, so I had clicked on the machine, think of this like a hopper, right? So if we take a hopper and take a look at the shape of that, and this is the same if we look at other blocks, the hopper faces into that, right? The exact same way that does. So if I put them side by side, the shape of the hopper and the shape of this inventory guy, the inventory hopper, is the same. This could be inverted. I believe I still have some. Yeah, you probably saw that. If I had inventory cables, I could place this along like this, and then I believe this would do the same thing, right? And we could probably test that out here. Let's test that out. That's gonna pick that up and put it in there. But we could do this. Pop that on there, and then pop that on there. Now, if I put these in here and set this to that, will that work? No, because this is not seeing this as a network. But if I go back into Tom's and we get an inventory connector cable, I think this might work. Let's see. If I do this, let's try this. Take that out. I have not tested this, so I'm not certain. But it does say on the hopper that you can import or export from your inventory network. So maybe it does not work like that. I'll have to play with that and see exactly how to do that. Maybe we would have to flip this around. And let's say if we were connected... Now we're just kind of testing on the fly. I was not planning on doing this at all in the beginning. Let's try it out. We're just trying things out here. We want it to import into the network. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't actually work. I do not know. I didn't watch a video on the Tom Simple Storage. It is nice because it is simple storage. I mean, we've got, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 items in the entire mod. So should be pretty easy to figure out. We did craft all of our circuits. I used up a lot of these. We only have 8 more circuits. We take a look. That's it. And we still got our 2 wire mills. We're going to hopefully get to those today. I did craft up another backpack. This will be like a project backpack versus our tools and miscellaneous stuff backpack. So this one's on hotkey to B, and this one is just in my inventory that I right click on. I do have like a little sub basement here, get in under the biodiesel. I might remove this because I'm not certain I need it to be here anymore. I needed it here for a little bit of wiring, and there was a lot of wiring to clean up. I don't know if you remember what it looked like before, but it was terrible. I did, as you can see, do a huge upgrade to our witch water. So all of these are here creating witch water. I upgraded our water for that. That's pumping into a water cell so that we can output it fast enough. But there are 10 barrels here making witch water. That provides us with water for our soul sand and water for our blackstone, both of which are not being used just yet. What else happened between the episodes? Obviously I connected our ingots here. I did have a comment that let me know that smelting the sphalerite is not necessarily the correct route. That's totally fine. In the future, once we get closer to when we're going to need that, I will electrolyze it and use it like that. How do you spell that, sphalerite? S-P-A-L, S-P-H-A-L. So using the sphalerite dust, if we electrolyze it, that gives us zinc, sulfur, and a small bit of gallium. And that's probably the best way to get gallium until some point later on, like, yeah, ore processing, or I believe there might be another way. Ore processing here, yeah. Crushed bauxite, there's a better chance. This is an increase if we get to the electric ore factory, which with the increase that this is probably just better. So waiting until then, getting to the ore processing plant controller, it's even better still. Ore grinding, I was just looking to see if there was a possibility for the geodes, because there are, oops, pushed a whole bunch of buttons there. These geodes, you know, for like diamond, emerald, stuff like that. And we'll get these from the rock filtration. What else? All this is rock filtration. I did enable the history stuff here, so I don't have to search so much. But as you can see, I've got the copper scaffolding. Yes, I did talk about that. We also upgraded our steel, so this guy's been running. Every once in a while, I just go through, empty these out, pop them into our system, craft down our blocks of steel. You can see here we've got 1,765 steel. Our charcoal and wood production are running well. I guess I don't have to walk over here to show you that. I can just show you from our tab screen here. We've got a ton of blocks of charcoal, ton of charcoal here, absolute ton of spruce logs. So we're pretty set up on resources, truth be told, especially since all of this was sitting and running while I was kind of crafting and tinkering here. I like these light posts. I use the copycat panel from Create, and they do connect on the back, which is pretty neat with the girders. The magnet I had kind of shoved in back here, connected right on the back of this block, but I like this better. So what I actually did, and what I think we're going to look to doing today, we need this LV emitter. This is going to be used to craft the basic circuit assembler. This is going to be the best way to craft the LV circuits that we want to get to. The problem is with that is we need this quartzite, which shouldn't be too difficult because we can use the autoclave. We can use the autoclave with some distilled water. I believe this is the best way to get to it. I was looking through resources for a while. Looking through these pages for a while. So I hope this is the correct way. Quartzite dust, implosion pressure. That's not going to happen for a while. But this also comes from a geode. If we look, I think this one has a geode one. Heart grinding. Ore crushing. I thought it came from a geode. No, I guess I'm wrong. So, the quartzite. Silicone dust and distilled water. Distilled water is pretty simple. Comes from a distillery. We just pump water in. No big deal. The silicon dioxide is just centrifuging flint. No big deal. These will be processes that we can set up. So we need a centrifuge. And we need a distillery. Now the problem is both of these machines are going to use 6 of our LV circuits. I think other than that, we should be doable. From there, once we get the level emitter, and then we use it to make the circuit assembler, the reason why we want to use the circuit assembler is it just makes everything a little bit cheaper. We don't have to mess with these cables. This is going to save us some crafting steps here. And I think this is the route I want to go. If we take a look at our tree here, I did go ahead and set it up. And we can do this as a crafting process. It is a lot of steps, right? So if we were to change it to this one, we can look at it and see that it would be a lot cheaper if we set this. It would be a lot cheaper. We get set that guy. The processes would be a lot less. Liquid tin. That's going to be this. And it's going to be that tin ingot. So here we would need a wire mill, the blast furnace, the assembler. We would probably need a lathe. So I don't really know, actually, truth be told, if it's going to be a cheaper process. I think the resources might be cheaper. It's definitely cheaper, but this is we'll get double the output. But I think setting it up on passive is going to be cheaper going this direction. So if we take a look at our tree here, an assembler, we want, I believe we want this. Copper plates are going to come from a bender. Maybe we don't want this. Oh, this is going to be that recipe. Yeah, okay. Let's just double check and make sure. Wood pulp. If we macerate it down, that's not going to be cheaper. So, this is our next project, essentially. If we start clear down here, red alloy wire, we can see this entire tree set up. The red alloy wire will actually craft. We could do it this way, but we could also do it with a crafter. We could mix it like this, but I'll probably just use a crafter because we can do it like this. So we'll need a chemical reactor, a fluid solidifier. We have this process automated. What we would need to move on to then is this one here. So copper, redstone, an alloy smelter into a wire mill. We have the wire mill. We have enough shaped crafters to get us through this. We have another barrel set up that we can get through this. This is going to go into a centrifuge, so we need the centrifuge. Here we have enough crafters to make these, I believe. We would need another bender, or this could be our first bender. And then we need this assembler, so we have an assembler. So far we have everything but the centrifuge. Over here we have another wire mill. Perfect. That's going to go up through the crafters that we have. We have steel. That's fantastic. The steel rod and the steel bolt. I think we're going to need lathes for these. Because that's going to be... Because we're not going to cut it. We can't extrude it because that's MV. So it would be the lathe. Let's go ahead and set that. The bolt would then be a cutter. It would be a cutter on water. Lubricant would be great. I mean, I suppose distilled water would work. We're going to be making distilled water. Right, so if we did that. If we cut rods make more sense. Rods with distilled water. Lubricant. Rods with water takes 11. Distilled water is cheaper, so we do that. The distilled water we're going to need, so we're about to craft a distillery anyway. So one lathe, a cutter we do have. We don't have a cutter, but we'll get one. The distillery we'll have after we get our first couple of quartzite. Moving over here, we've got the macerator. We made that. We're actually going to need two, one for sand and one for flint. We'll then craft that into the glass dust. We could use a mixer, but I don't know that it's particularly important. We could just use this crafting recipe. After all, it is going to be passive. We'll need an alloy smelter for the glass tube and a casting mold ball. We've got steel for the blast furnace. We'll craft down the blocks into ingots and put them in a bender. So we need another bender. And then over here, making our glue, we'll need a centrifuge. And that centrifuge will be shared here. Both of these glues. Then we need another wire mill. Over here, we'll cook this with a fan. We'll grind it with another macerator. And then use an assembler here to get all this set up. That makes sense? Anyways, we're probably not going to have enough circuits. That's what I just kind of learned. So we are going to hobble through this next section of getting all of these machines. We're going to start with the distillery and the centrifuge. So let's go ahead and set this. Sure, we'll do that. This is a lot, but it's asking for circuits. We already have circuits. We hit this guy. This is a lot of stuff that we need, but if we open up our inventory, it's a lot less, right? The copper spring in a bender, no big deal. Let's do this. The long copper rod. We don't have a forge hammer. We could make one, but it's the same. Let's do that. Copper rods will be this. Bender extruder lathe. We'll use this one for now. That makes it a lot easier. Let's start with our tin wire. We'll make these wires. I'd have crafted up a whole lot of wires in between episodes. We can make tin cables like so. Magnetic iron rods, those are cheap. Copper wires, we're going to have to go this route. Bronze pipe, easy enough. We just needed the one. One electric motor. Some rubber rings. Tin rods. See, this is pretty simple. Like I said, we have an absolute ton of raw resources. So, in the words of Threefold, you have to be inefficient to be efficient sometimes. So we're going to be slightly inefficient with our time as far as just doing like a bunch of batch crafting like this. But as you can see, we're just kind of ripping through. We got an electric pump. I feel like we had already gotten that. We needed that for the solidifier. Okay. So that's done. LV machine case, easy. We've made a bunch of those. LV machine hull, easy. The copper rods, that's simple enough. Long copper rod, copper spring, and then finally our distillery. Bam. Super easy, actually. What I do want to do is tap into my water line from underneath. So let's pull up water from here. What is the distilled water circuit requirement? Distilled water. Oh, that's water on circuit 1. And we'll put it on... It's a slight defect there. So we're going to put it on circuit 5, actually. Grab fluid pipes. No kidding. Am I really out of fluid pipes? Let's see. This is a water line. That is not a water line. That's a witch water line. We need one. We need one more water pipe. Oh, that is hilarious. Where's the water pipe at? At pipes, water pipe. I did change the texture. I turned on the texture pack for... Oh. I teleported right on top of the our guy there. So let's see. You should be getting water from the input side. And I don't know how to get these to work. That's fluids. I want to do fluid output auto. But I don't know how to like get it to really connect. There we go. Seems like it's really weird on the way that it wants to connect. I keep dropping things on top of these. I think I'm going to put down a couple of those guys there. Okay. So he is going to make distilled water. Can I not make distilled water? No. LV 5. Circuit 5. Why is it not working? It doesn't have power. Brilliant. There we go. You be quiet. Let's grab a cell. Water cell. We'll put that there, and we're just going to get a bunch of distilled water in. We'll let that sit for a minute and run. It's actually pretty quick. That's not moving too bad, right? That's not too bad. So we have the distillery. I think we need another distillery, right? I don't know. Let's make the centrifuge. Centrifuge. Let's tag it. And look at that. We already pretty much have everything. We just need some more cables. Eight covered cable. LV machine hull. Magnetic rod. Copper wires. We need to craft down. Let's do these guys. And then these guys. Or 2 motors. And then the basic centrifuge. This EMI integration here is absolutely insane. How much easier it makes everything. And that was a quest. Fantastic. Using the force of spinning things, this machine separates liquids, gases, and items. Cool. Another star T coin. I'm actually kind of saving our coins for the jet boots. That would be really nice to be able to get. The problem is, if we click view dependencies, we need the advanced assembler, which is way over here in the quest book. That's right here. So we are like, we need this, and this, and this, and this, and this. We could probably push to this. I think it's just the EBF and getting aluminum. But we're not quite working on that. I'm trying to focus my efforts onto this guy. So, the quartzite. It's going to be the silicon dust. That's going to be flint dust. We've got 27. Where's our macerator? Let's drop that in there. That's going to get us some more flint dust. And then the centrifuge can go over here. We are just kind of spamming down these cables. We're going to continue that for just a little bit longer. We can take this and the other flint dust that we have. That way we can drop in more or less a full stack. Quiet it down. That's our silicon dioxide. Now all we need is the autoclave. There is a small chance to be able to get the quartzite. But, and it is LV, fantastic. Oh, it's not a small chance because it's this recipe. No, it's this one. It's a 10% chance. So, if we bookmark that, view the recipe tree, turn it on, pop those in there, pop those in there. That's going to get us plenty of that going. Let's jump back into our inventory, make some more cables, make another machine. Once you kind of get to a point like this, where you have resources automated, and you can kind of just bulk craft stuff, it gets a lot more manageable, right? Normal bronze fluid pipe, rubber ring, tin rod, tin bolt, tin screw, another pump, and just like that, an autoclave. So, As one more machine needs to go down, we can pick up another one. Let's put that in there. We'll put our autoclave down. If we do this, how big is the buffer here? It's like 8,000 buckets, so we could safely pick this guy up. Put this guy here, and then to the bottom, if we pushed, all that's in there. And then we can take our silicon dioxide, drop it in there, quiet it down. Silicon dioxide was a quest. Oops. It was a quest or an advancement. I'm not sure where. What's this? Mechanical sieve. Water logging. Yeah, down here, the rock filtration. That'll be something that we'll get to. The mechanical sieve might be kind of cool at some point. I don't think that we really need it just yet, but I think it actually works out pretty nicely to the room that we have built downstairs. Yeah, look at that. So this is like a 5x5 if we stretched it out to here. So that mechanical sieve would actually fit in here nicely for all of these. So we kind of pre-planned a little bit. Look at that. That's why I don't like to build things super compact. I mean, I guess these are compact because they're wall sharing, but let's get back into this. I'm rambling. So, are there any quests that we should unlock to make sure that the work that we're doing is recognized? I'm not sure that there is. It looks like we're fine. Let's come over here and check. We have not gotten any. It is very slow. It's very slow. The quartzite, 60 seconds. It takes a full minute. Okay. Let's see if this one gives it to us. It did not. So that's not a big deal. But what we can do is probably look at making more circuits. Okay, so we've got the emitter here. That's going to take 2 LV circuits. And I think that just emptied out our circuits. Yeah, that just emptied out our circuits. So that is definitely a problem. That is definitely a problem. So we need to go through and modify some of these recipes so that we can make these things make sense. Let's change this to this one. These are fine. The steel bolts, we're going to craft the old way for a minute. The same way with the rods. That's okay. The glass tube. We do have an alloy smelter, so we could use this. So let's set that. We just need to make a bunch of glass dust. Steel plates, that's fine. The resistors, we're going to go with this recipe. Paper, that's fine. Yes. Our red alloy cable, let's take half of that. Pop it into our wire mill because we're going to need a lot of that cable. How is our copper cable? We're good on copper cable, I believe. What I want to do, if I can open the right inventory, is set this to another stack of circuits, I think. So we're going to need 12 of those. We're going to need a lot more sticky resin. Nope, we have enough sticky resin. We're going to need red alloy cables, a bunch of steel bolts, 32 steel rods, I mean. So let's do that. Another stack of... Let's take these, pop it in here, top that off. We're going to need more flint dust. We're going to need a stack of flint dust. Let's pop that in there. Let's take a look. Okay, flint dust, steel plates. We have the steel plates. We do not. We can throw that in our bender. And I think as long as we don't have too many machines running at once, we will be okay. We're not going to burn out our cable. I think we're okay. Okay, so the fine copper wire, we can do that. We could craft it here with the foils. How many copper plates do we have? We'll do it in the wire mill. This is almost done. This says we need 12 16x. Okay, so making this, we need it on 3. Pop that in there. And going off of this, the 128. I'm not sure how much that comes out to, truth be told. 128 divided by 8. What is that? A stack? No. 8 would get us a stack, 16. So we only need 16 of these. We'll let that run. We're going to need more red alloy. That'll probably go in there next. But we don't want it on that one. Okay. The copper cable. That's fine. This can all be crafted down into those. It's not going to be enough. Right, because we still need like a stack of it. We can make the circuit boards. That's enough there. We can take out our flint. That's enough to make glass that we need. We're also going to need this mold. And that needs to go, that's for the alloy smelter. So that will go in there, and that goes in there. That's going to make our 64 glass tubes. Steel plates, charcoal dust. So we need to put a stack of charcoal in the macerator. How's this guy going? Did not give us our thing yet, but we need more distilled water. Let that run. Let's see. So we're getting our tubes there. We got our wires. We need to change this to 16. We're going to take the copper out, put the red alloy in, take out the fine copper wire, drop that in there. Copper ingots can go in there. We can pop the copper out. I think we still might need more of that. I think we do. We still need a stack of it. Let's see what else. The glass tubes are cooking up. Steel plates are in here. That's simple enough. Red alloy, we can get some more of that cooking. Or at least get it ready. We do this. We'll pop that in there. And those there. Those are running. The red alloy. Yada, yada, yada. Alright. So I'm going to let this stuff do some processing. And I will be back once our red alloy and our copper wires are done, I believe, and our glass tubes. Alright. Alright, so as you can see, actually, was the last clip night? I don't know. But everything is done processing. The distilled water is still running every once in a while. I've just been grabbing it, throwing it up here, letting the tank empty into the new machine. That way it's nice and full because it is slow. But we've got 4 quartzite. That's huge. That'll get us our emitters. Everything has ran. So let's go ahead. We just need these as the tiny wires. Right? Pop those out. Fantastic. We've got those. We need these. As these wires. Because we need an absolute ton of them. Our glass tubes. What else? Printed resin circuit boards. Let's take 15 of those. Like so. The steel bolts, we'll take a stack. Oh, we killed our file. Let's get another steel file. Those are simple. Is that enough? We need 4 more. Actually, the file breaking actually worked out pretty well for us. Pop those in there. What else? The vacuum tubes. We need 2 stacks of vacuum tubes. It's the inefficient recipe. The fine copper wire, we've got that. The resistors, we need 2 stacks of resistors. We're out of sticky resin? Really? We're out of sticky resin. Slime balls, the slataki. Let's grab. This is just what I've been doing for like mass smelting. When we need it, just go through and like if I've needed stone or anything like that, just come through here and pop them on these. That should be, other than the sticky resin, everything that we need. Let's make another stack of circuits. Once these cook up. I've been trying to sit differently in my chair. My carpal tunnel gets to me a little bit, so I've been trying to like elevate my wrist and float my wrist over my keyboard, my like left wrist. We need to put these back on actually. Oops, I pulled copper dust off of there. Let's pop that in the system. Oh, look, some sphalerite dust. So the quartzite, let's see, we did unlock a quest there. Quartzite, where's that at? Am I missing it? Where's, oh, here we are. No description, but it is getting us the gallium arsenide. But we need realgar, we need this, which comes from the void extractor controller. Okay. There's a couple of things here. Basic cutter cobalt brass. That is for a later date. These are done. You, and you, and you. That's enough sticky resin to finish our resistors. Or at least I thought. We need more copper wire. Dang it. We need 8 more to run through, right? Because 1 gives us 8. That's on circuit 3. Let me pop this in here and talk more. Circuit 3. Thought I had enough of the copper wire. What was I saying? Cooking this. Yes, the emitter. Let's see if we can make this emitter. We need the circuits, but that's fine. Tin cable. That's alright. Let's do this. We just need brass rods, which we can cut. Make the emitter. Okay, so we're real close on the emitter. How fast or slow is this? It's kind of slow. So what I want to do here is set up this whole basic electronic circuit line over here, and that's what this pretty much whole entire platform will be. This will be like our basic resource setup. Oh, I was talking about my carpal tunnel. Yeah, so trying to like float my left wrist. But anyways, back over here. Getting the basic circuit automated. Using this, we actually, like, there are better circuits, right? There's, this is the first one. This one has a better recipe. That's simpler, cheaper in a way. You can get all the way up to, like, this guy. Not that one. This one. You know, getting to this point in the distant future. But I just want to get these automated. That way they're passive and, like, we can just always go back to them. There's our other stack there. And then lastly, boom, another stack of LV circuits. That didn't take too long. About an hour of the video. What we can do is make our emitter. If we take a look at our circuit, we should be able to set the recipe for that. And then let's go ahead and knock that out as well. This quartzite we can drop off. Got that emitter. So let's get our crafting tree, and hopefully nothing in here is going to be too weird for us. Look at this thing. I'm zoomed out all the way. It's neat. So let's go ahead and do that. The tin cable. Let's grab some more tin. Which one's tin? Set this to 16. Let that run. Let's get another stack of tin in there. Let's see. Copper cable. Did I really use up all the copper cable too? I really used up all the copper cable. Okay. So let's flip this, put the copper in there. We need to get one of those. The copper's running. We can get an LV hole there. We can get these. Get a couple of them. Get those. A couple of them. We can get iron rods. 18. There we go. 7 magnetic rods. Another LV machine hole. We can get almost all our motors. We need 4 more motors. 6 steel rods. Gears are simple. A piston. Easy. We're just waiting on our cables to come out. So our tin cable. Craft up all of these guys. I don't know if we'll need like the raw tin cables, I guess. This is almost done. 25 4 seconds. 25. There we go. This needs crafted down and down, down, and down. LV motor. Times 3. 2 conveyors. Robot arm. It's an MV circuit. Oh, you guys are probably screaming at the screen. Fine copper wire in the assembler, liquid glass, gallium arsenide, silicon wafer. Oh, you guys were definitely screaming at the screen. You know what? And I think I saw this before too. So the phenolic circuit board. Yeah, I'm pretty certain I saw this, that we weren't going to be able to make this. Oh man, that is painful. That is painful. Let's grab our hoppers. Let's that's painful. Is that pulling that out? Yes. And that'll put that in there. Yeah. So I'm going to let that sit and run and work through that. And I'm going to see if I can recover from this embarrassment. MV circuits. Yeah, for the circuit assembler. Dang. Okay, so I think that we're going to skip that for now, actually. We probably could, because it would be the diode and the circuit board, an assembler, an LV with the fine copper wire and gallium arsenide. There is a silicon wafer option. We probably don't have access to this. Yeah, the monocrystalline silicon boule. I know this is, yeah, an EBF. Okay. Gallium arsenide. That dust would be a mixer. Gallium and arsenic. The arsenic would be Realgar centrifuged. And the Realgar is actually on our radar here. Right? Resource production. Cobalt. Rare earth. Yeah, gallium arsenide. So I still think I want to let's put some more copper in here. I still think I want to set this up. I still think I want to set up the line here. Let's turn this off. If we get rid of these, unfortunately, and take a look at what we need for this. Okay. So if we don't use the circuit assembler, and we don't use anything that is going to be crazy to set up. If we don't use the circuit assembler, we still can craft it using the crafters this way. And I think it's still very much doable. Right? Like ULV, basic assembler. I still think it's like worth doing this way. And what I planned on doing was using the centrifuge on the sticky resin, I believe, to get the glue. We'll get raw rubber pulp and plant balls. That's totally fine. Man, I am certain you guys were just losing it, yelling at me. Every once in a while I go in here and swap that out, just drop that rubber off. Okay, so I need to recuperate my thoughts. And, I think we're going to make the machines that we need. I don't need that emitter. But I think what we're going to do is take this backpack and get things set up. Get this laid out to be able to match this tree here. So chemical reactor, fluid solidifier, we have these set up. We have one alloy smelter. We've got one extra wire mill that's already over here. We need 1, 2, 3, 4 crafters. 1, 2, this takes 3 crafters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 9. These will share 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, 14. That's for steel. This will be the paper. 14, 15, 16, 17. So if we open this up, there's our crafters. We've got our wire mills. We've got 2 wire mills. Isn't there a clipboard? There is a clipboard. We can make that. What's that clipboard look like? Okay, amazing. Let's pop this bad boy open and get some stuff down. Let's go. Chemical reactor, fluid solidifier. We have those. Alloy smelter, wire mill. We have those. I do have this stuff for the barrel transformation. 2 wire mills there. So we need at least 1 wire mill. Let's do 1. Let's do this. Wire mill 1. Okay, so that gets us that. We need a macerator. We need 2 macerators. 9 more crafters. Another alloy smelter. And we'll use this recipe because it's twice as efficient on like the steel and the copper. We do this. The steel rod is going to need a lathe. We'll do that. The steel bolt is a cutter. We're not going to use distilled water. We'll just use regular water. Because the distilled water is, well, it's 11 seconds. This is getting 5. So that should be doable. Let's look back at this. If we use the cutter, distilled water, we'll use that. So where are we at? Distillery, we got that. So we need a lathe, a cutter, and an assembler. We have 1 assembler. Is that the only assembler we need? I think it is. We're going to use an assembler here as well. That one works. Actually, we'll change it to this one. This we're going to use an assembler because it's going to be a lot cheaper. We need 2 assemblers. We're going to need assembler, another bender. I got 1 centrifuge, 1 centrifuge. We have 1, right? We have 1 centrifuge. So we need a bender, 2 assemblers, a lathe, and a cutter. Lathe, 1, cutter, 1. Lathe and a cutter. Over here, 2 macerators. 9 more crafters. Another alloy smelter. Macerator 2. Alloy smelter 1. That's a crafter. That's that. That's that. This is for charcoal, so we need another macerator and a wire mill. And that should be good. One more macerator, one more wire mill. Perfect. Okay, so we're definitely going to need a ton of wires. So I'm going to let these sit and run. I think I'll probably put like, I don't know, another stack of tin in there and another stack of copper. I'm going to let that run. And I think this clipboard is what we're going to need. I think other than that, we have enough crafters. And we have enough stuff of the rest of everything else. We're going to need to cook both of these. So we're going to need 2 fans. We have charcoal. That's fine. We have the fans. We've got one. We can probably make another one pretty quick. Yeah, there we go. Let it go there. Alright, so we're going to continue to add to this. Wire mill, that's spoken for. So what I'm going to do is gather these up. 2 wire mills, 2 assemblers, 1 lathe, 1 cutter, 3 macerators, and 1 alloy smelter. Alright, so let's take a look. The clipboard, you guys, once again, might have been yelling at me. The cutter, the LV cutter, takes cobalt brass. And if we look at our quest book, we can easily see that cobalt brass is locked behind cobalt, locked behind the electric ore factory, locked behind the LV energy hatch. So we would have to get this guy and make this guy. And that, I'm pretty certain, would be replacing all of these. We're not to that point yet. But I did get everything else, and it was actually really fast. What else I was working on in that time? I got some brass funnels, got some mechanical arms. I made a 16 amp energy converter. I figure if we're going to be running all these machines, 4 amps is not going to be enough. Spent a bunch of time crafting up some soul-infused wires. That way we can hook up all of the machines. You can see we're down to 39 basic electronic circuits. So we are geared up and ready to go. This episode didn't go exactly how I thought it would. But in the meantime, I also went through and put void upgrades on all of these. On all of these drawers that are down here. Including my clay and flint. So all of these can just now run indefinitely. We don't need it on the wrought iron, the glass, or the soul sand. But I did place one over here on our wood farm, so those can back up and we're not going to have to worry about anything there giving us any issues. These can back up. I'm not terribly concerned with that. I did set up a little deployer here. The only real way to get the polished rose quartz is by using the sandpaper. There's not like a conversion. I don't know. I feel like, you know, something in Greg Tech could have made this easier. I don't know. Put it in a macerator, or I don't know. What machine do we have over here? Seems like it would make sense. I don't know. The alloy smelter, the bender. Put it in the bender, or the wire mill, maybe. Yeah, maybe the wire mill makes sense. You know, take it from rose quartz to polished rose quartz. Maybe the alloy smelter with some sort of mold. But what do we got? Plate. Maybe like the ingot mold. Cylinder mold. I have no idea what would make sense. I do not know, but I do know that the episode didn't go exactly the way that I wanted. I would have liked to have gotten more done. I think we're a net gain on steel since the beginning of the episode, so that's pretty neat. So we have everything that we need. I'm pretty certain there might be some things that pop up, but I'm pretty certain we have everything that we need to set up this production line. So if you take kind of a snapshot of this production line and what it looks like, just imagine this laid out right here across this area. And we do have just enough wire to be able to stretch all the way across. That will tie up all of our current machines, and most certainly we're going to have to upgrade our power. But we could do that easily with these coil blocks or magnets. Magnetic force from 2 to 4. These are simple. They're just made with, we could use a polarizer, or we could use this energizing guy. This, we have to put it over a depot, so that's simple enough. So, yeah, I think, actually, unfortunately, gonna have to call the episode here. We didn't even really get to, like, place down any machines. I guess we did. We got this guy down. We got some quartzite. We almost got through all of our silicon dioxide. I guess that's a little bit of an indicator, because I think there was well over a stack in here when I made the last cut. But at this point, we're up to 11 quartzite, which has a usage. Is this used? LV sensor. I feel like there's some sort of use for it in like AE2 or something like that. Where's the controller? Let's see, star steel, printed circuit, inscriber, alloy smelter. Those don't have anything. Okay, so these are fairly simple, I suppose. Silicon, probably not silicon ingot. So we'll have to see what's coming up next. Past the LV circuit line. I know it's probably not necessarily worth it setting it up, but it'll be really cool once it's done. Set up back here, and then just LV circuits will just run passively forever. It might be slow, but we'll put some drawer upgrades on there, and then we'll just have a bunch of them, and we'll be able to move through, get into other stuff. The MV circuits, take them, right? We look up MV circuit. These take 3. We could set it up so they only take 2, but we're going to need tons of LV circuits, so instead of crafting like a stack at a time and only getting, what is that, 21 MV circuits, we'll just set this up and set it and forget it, and it'll be wonderful, right? So, once again, I just want to thank you for stopping in. And don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe, drop a video, drop a like on this video, and let me know if you have any comments. Let's walk backwards over here. All right. Thanks for stopping in.